Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media, and today we are very lucky to host a good friend of ours all the way from United States of America. My brother, thank you so much for honoring our invite. May I take this opportunity to to come and introduce yourself to those who will be watching us from our motherland, Africa. Thank you so much.
How you doing, man? I really appreciate you having me on, and we get to just have a kick off a good conversation, man. Let's talk about some topics, man. I really appreciate it.
Uh, Maybe you can say your name and so that they can know who is speaking.
Oh, truth. My name is Hanif Mcneil. I am a licensed real estate agent with Century 21, and I'm also a DSP with my good brother Benson. Known him for a very long time, and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much, brother. Today we want to have a nice conversation, especially something that we see in communities, especially the building a generational wealth in African American communities. And this has been a big conversation because if you look the way American is made, some quota always feel like due to slavery, that one has made them not to have that wealth built so that they can pass it to generation. Maybe the system is against them. But you, as somebody who is born in the America, who has lived it and who is still in it, maybe you have your personal view on how we can build, or like how the African American communities can build wealth so that they can pass it on to the generation and the generation to come. So this is your opportunity. You can let us know, brother. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you, man. First things I want to just start by saying, it's really an honor to be here and speaking with you on this topic of building and transferring generational wealth, at least understanding, you know, what it is and how beneficial it could be as a head start, a good kickoff to, you know, living life, you know what I'm saying? Financial freedom, if you will. A lot of that comes with education and knowing.
Mhm.
But just a couple of ways that generational wealth can be passed down. Uh, Starts with home ownership, life insurance, retirement accounts, estate plans, trust, and wills. Those are just an example. Like there's plenty more, but just for the sake of conversation and time, we can just go over just a couple of things and just in short detail what they are and how beneficial they can be if explored and dealt with properly, the right education. Good monumental things can happen. Monumental changes can occur. First starting off, for example, home ownership. Just owning your own home, your property, having equity
Mhm.
in your property. Say you buy a house. For example, I think the median price for house is like 346,000 or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But buying a house, and then you're paying for it, right? So you should figure home ownership versus renting. You put money into a property for which you'll never own. You know what I mean? So that money you'll never see again. You're paying for the right to keep all your stuff in a centralized location and go and come as you please. But home ownership, it requires a certain level of responsibility. I'm not going to go into the details of home ownership per se, but just the benefits. So you say after 5 years, per se, right? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of you being in one place, paying your mortgage, your taxes, your amortized payments on time is going to help your credit. It's going to do things for you that it's going to benefit you in ways that you might not see at first, overnight, but give it time. Give it time, and then you take that equity. Equity is this money that you could in turn borrow against if you wanted to. That opportunity doesn't present itself if you're not in that situation. For example, if you're renting or you're leasing with no option to buy or something like that, you won't reap those benefits later on down the road. You want to put your kid through college. I'm gonna give you an example. It's not saying that this is like the blueprint way to go about it, but
Mhm.
the benefit in it is tremendous. It's tremendous. Home ownership goes a long way. Houses, homes, properties are passed down from generation to generation, and what that generation particularly wants to do, remodel, build upon it, make it, aesthetically gorgeous, or sell it and then, reap the profits and then invest in something else. To liquidate, you need real property. You know what I'm saying? You need, you can't really, you need that property. You know what I'm saying? And home ownership is one of the telltale ways of saying to the next generation, hey, look, all of the hard work and energy and effort that I've, put into this, I'm now leaving to you. A lot of times, they will probably have to pay like, taxes. That's a small price to pay for what you gain, in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah. Life insurance. The next one, for example, take out a life insurance policy in the event something, because we're not long for this world. We know that. You and I both know. We're here, and we know that at some point we're gonna have to make arrangements and get our affairs, and we have to get up off this plane. We're not long for this world, so we know that we have to set aside things, put things in place for when we're not here anymore. Our kin, our kids, our grandkids, our relatives, our loved ones, are gonna, take over. Want to leave them. Hey, look, though I'm gone, here, take this and do great things. You know what I'm saying? That financial head start is so crucial to the up and coming generation, to leave them with nothing, like to no education on how money works, no education on how to build. It's damning. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that it's done intentionally, but the more you know, the more that you can educate, people who are educated in whatever they're trying to do, make better decisions. You have to do your research. You have to be, you know what I'm saying? So that all comes with the territory. But I say that to say this: it starts with the current generation. You know what I'm saying? That mindset that says, okay, I'm not gonna have, my kids and my kids' kids and so on and so forth struggle as I did, or at least not the way that I did. Hard work is hard work no matter how you slice it. But to know, like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that they're set. That's another way to do it. Life insurance policies, premiums, stuff like that. Like, you can always contact your local life insurance business or organization for more information. But that's another way. Retirement and estate plans. I really wanted to talk about estates, trusts, and wills, because a lot of people don't realize, it's not anybody's fault, but what people may not realize about estate plans. Like, for example, if you we all have to leave this earth, right? And when I was saying to you earlier, life insurance is just part of it. You know what I'm saying? To have a trust or a will just says, hey, when I'm gone, take this. It just tells people how your money, property, whatever was left is supposed to be distributed, right?
Yeah.
Trusts are a little bit different, and estate plans are a little bit. The estate plans are more specific. Those are like, okay, you may have family members that may not agree. You know what I'm saying? You may have, issues that may come from all over the place. So estate plans come into play. They're more specific in the guidelines with, okay, with how things are supposed to be carried out. And trusts and wills kind of go hand in hand. I think it was every trust always includes a will, but wills don't always have to include a trust. But I know that trusts are they are free from something. You'd have to look into that a little bit more. But trusts and wills are a good way to pass down generational wealth. It's really important that people understand, Benson, that generational wealth is a mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's more of it's a way of thinking now and setting up for the future. So that's sort of like retirement, how you put money away, a little bit here, a little bit there, however much you can afford. But you're setting yourself up for when, for that rainy day, for that times, well, not rainy days, more of like a, change in lifestyle when you're not going to be able to. So you're setting yourself up now while you have that ability. Same thing with, these concepts of passing down or, putting aside a chunk of change for the next generation. It's multiple ways to do that, but doing so is the mindset. The check to check, that not being able to save, that doesn't really help when you're trying to, do this sort of thing. You
Let me
really,
let me follow up something with you. You
okay.
talk about mindset.
Yeah,
Yeah. You say like about generational wealth is about mindset, and
yeah.
me and you know, based on what we read, because I've been here, I've seen or now some people usually have conversation about the slavery and how slavery has impacted on especially African American community,
Hmm.
and more occasion that you will find them saying like we cannot own this because the system was made in a way
Yeah,
that cannot allow us or cannot give us the opportunity to access the even like financial assistance. We're talking about on how to get the mortgage. Sometimes you have to get it through bank, but when you find if you go through bank, like you will have to meet some challenges for you even to be
yeah,
given that assistance or that mortgage loan based on your the color of your skin.
yeah, for
So
sure.
how do you talk about, how can you talk about that? Is that one also the mindset, or is something that is also happening, or we should change our mind on how we think?
That is a really good question. That is a very good question. If I had to give my honest opinion, I'd say it's a little bit of both. So you can't ignore the atrocities that has happened over the years against, people of color, especially when it comes to financial services, when it comes to buying and acquiring real property. Like those things are real, like very, very real. I mean, that's the whole reason why fair housing laws exist today. You know what I'm saying? And have been constantly built upon since 1968, even before that. You know, what I mean, the blueprint of fair housing, has been around for years. It's just the actual, someone going in and making it real, making it law, making it like, you have to abide by this, you have to, behave in this way because it's wrong otherwise. So for example, in the olden days, what a tactic that used to be used to basically keep people of color or undesirable individuals from acquiring certain services
Mhm.
was called redlining, which is very illegal now. I mean, couldn't get away with that now, but redlining, in and of itself, is withholding services from an individual residing in an area deemed hazardous for investing. So like it'd be like a map, and they draw basically a line separating one area from another, from another, from another. And areas in the green would be, areas where you'd want to either buy a home, invest. The banks are fantastic. Like that was the area in which you'd want to go and do business. And anything beyond that line, that red line, would be like stay away from here. Realtors and real estate agents would actually try to get people not to invest in that area. So whatever was in that area would ultimately suffer. So that was a practice that was very legal and very practiced in the older days. That was a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So to say that, these, since slavery and that mindset, those things happened. Slavery happened, and incarceration of colored people for trumped up nonsense. Those things happened. Systemic racism, you know, in and of itself is a real thing. It's not something that you can just say, well, you got to change the way you think because slavery was, a billion years ago.
Mhm.
All right, you can say that, but to keep thinking like the the system is against you
Mhm.
is a bad mindset to be in. That is 100% true. I cannot sit there and say, oh, keep playing the victim and things will turn. No, it doesn't work that way. The victimized mindset, you won't. It's impossible for you to see the bigger picture when you think that you're getting beat up by the universe itself. So that way of thinking is not synonymous with success. You know what I'm saying? It's not synonymous with getting yourself out of a situation. So, to answer your question, I don't believe that, you know, to say that those things didn't happen or to just ignore those, you can't do that. You have to acknowledge the history in order to keep it from repeating, or at least to acknowledge it and recognize it, so like you can, you know, see it in plain terms today. That's the, you know, but to you can't, that mindset, it is a mindset. So I do kind of sit on the fence with it. I know that it is kind of like a touchy, not touchy, but it's kind of a strange position to hold. And
Yes.
I hope I kind of answered your question the best that I could, but it is a mindset.
Okay.
But you do have to acknowledge that those things actually happen. But to continue to play the victim and hold yourself in this box, it's not, like I said, it's not synonymous with, you know, progression and getting yourself out of a situation that you're in.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Of
And
course.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I wasn't trying to overcomplicate it. It's just that's that's what it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I did, you know, like I said, I'm glad you asked that question, because that definitely touched on, you know, the couple of things that I had here, you know, with redlining,
Hmm.
steering, and blockbusting. Those were real estate practices,
Hmm.
discriminatory real estate practices. You know, steering, trying to keep, you know, potential investors from an area. Due to redlining, blockbusting was basically saying, okay, if undesirable individuals moved into my area, I'm taking my business and my investments out, and I'll just, you know, financially bankrupt the area, because myself, along with my other, you know, many constituents like myself, you know, who have money and have stakes in this community, don't want, you know, XYZ moving in, and you know, integration or whatever the situation was, you know, based on the neighborhood. So they'll take their businesses and the money and the resources out, and then you have a lot of abandoned, and it's like that in a lot of major cities in the US. Is remnants of blockbusting still, you know, Chicago, Detroit, you know, it's a lot of areas that, you know, have been hit with, you know, you can still see the effects of the discrimination.
Hmm.
It's inherent. You can't close your eyes and act like it didn't happen, and you can't close your eyes and act like there isn't still evidence of such atrocities. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, bro.
Okay. I can, before you continue with the insurance,
Mm,
you know, it's a way in which you can build a generational wealth. But like, if you try to look at statistically, or if you try to look at in a normal uh, baseline,
mm,
you find like the majority of the population that usually invest on the insurance, like few percentage, like lesser percentage of blacks or African American communities are investing in that.
yeah,
So does it mean that sometimes our community do not understand the what I call it, understand, doesn't understand how to build this wealth through insurance, so that you can pass it over to a generation, or maybe it is not im- of great length to them at that particular moment, or as per now there are some other things maybe they are pursuing that they feel that insurance investment is not part of the priority.
that's a good question. That's a really good question. I would like to say possibly. It's just it could be a number of variables, man. But if I had to boil it down, it could be lack of understanding. It could
Mhm.
be, you know, the fear of investing. It could be the fear of just not knowing. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
a lot of the times, you know, at least I know I can only really speak for myself, but you know,
Mhm.
a lot of the times, you know, people could possibly, you know, fear not knowing enough about what they're investing their money into, the short
Mhm.
term, the long term.
Yes.
You know, they might not see a, you know, a quick return on investment. You know, sometimes it's like when you invest, you don't know, you're thinking that the money's just going to come to you, or you're thinking that, you know, not understanding how it works.
Yeah.
So they don't, people could possibly not see the value in it. Like I said,
Okay.
I can't speak on everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm done now. You can continue.
um Man, listen, bro, when it comes down to it, man,
Uh,
when it comes down to it,
uh,
home ownership,
uh,
talking about money, right? Like
uh,
talking about how money works.
uh,
Like you put your money in the bank,
Yeah.
right? And then you let it accrue interest.
Mm.
It's not really beneficial. It's not really gonna, you're not really gonna make the money, it's not gonna build. It's
Yeah.
just sitting in the bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a wise man, I heard a wise man once say, you know, to use money,
Mm.
you don't save money. This is just what I heard. I'm just telling you what I heard a wise man say once.
Mm.
But don't save it, you
Mm.
invest it.
Mm.
You want to take that money, a
Mm.
percentage of it at least,
Mm.
and invest it in something. People people I think are afraid because of what they don't know. People fear the unknown.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, I'm learning as I'm talking to you. I have YouTube channels on, explaining, stock market, how it works,
Mm.
investments, losses, gains,
Yes.
things that you think are doing well now aren't always going to do well. Just knowing market trends, like doing your homework. A lot of it just comes from whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you want to invest in, whatever it is that you're trying to make happen.
Mm.
Do the research, do the work, and understand. Okay, I say, for example, I want to invest in Apple, right? I want to invest in Apple. Apple's a very good company. It's very, very, very productive company, right? You could go on and look at Apple stocks, and I don't know what their stocks is per share or the price per share, but I'm sure it's fantastic, But the point I'm trying to make is, as good as a company as Apple is, or Microsoft, or whatever, Amazon, right? As good as these companies are, you go and buy 10 shares, whatever the cost of 10 shares is, right? Whatever of the average person wants to invest in. You go and buy 10 shares, right?
Mm.
You have to then figure, okay, that 10 shares, you could make money, like it can go up and then have a great week or great 3 months. Because like every 3 months, you can get an analysis on how a particular business is doing, how it's done in that period of time, and they'll tell you, okay, well, this might be a good company to invest in. But it starts with actually looking up that company, looking up how they're doing. I mean, it's just information you have to give yourself to make a smart decision.
Mm.
That's what I think a lot of people fail with when it comes to like life insurance, when it comes to retirement, when it comes to just different investments, different ways of putting money in, what I mean, different investments. So you just got to know more about what you're investing in. Know if it's okay. Talk to somebody. Talk to someone, a professional, about, okay, is this a good, okay, maybe they can explain to you, how portfolios work. I don't know. You know what I mean? Arm yourself with the knowledge to make smart decisions. If you make a mistake, because mistakes happen, if you take a loss somewhere, it's a mindset. So you got to figure, okay, if I took a loss, is it really a loss? You know what I mean? If you know how to double up and make it back, or double up and, okay, I won't put that much here, I'll
Yeah.
make a smarter decision. It comes with understanding, okay, I've done my homework, I've done my research, I will make an informed, educated decision based on information that I've given myself. So that's
Yeah.
that's what I think it is. A lot of it just comes from lack of information,
Mm.
big part of it. I want to ask you a question, Mr. Benson.
Yeah. You can. You can.
I want to ask you a question. So, do you know about or have you heard stories about the Black Wall Street, um, 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Yes, I know, I've heard about it. And I was following it up, and I think this is a place whereby there was a small market whereby the African American community had brought up this vibrant economy area
Yeah.
somewhere. Then
Yep.
what happened? The people surrounding were not very happy, and they came, and the
Yeah.
place was set on a blaze, and that's
Yeah.
how it went, and it was a big deal. I've heard about it and I've read it.
Yeah. And the only reason why I say that is because we talk about systemic racism. We talk about things that were
Mm.
inherently like this place, like burned, etched into the DNA of this country,
Mm.
where it was this fear of the enhancement of the black man, the fear of the enhancement of the black man to be independent, to be prosperous. It was, especially during that time, it was a crazy time. But But I say that to say this, you know, people, like we talk about the history of things, people are told to forget things. You see, you forget, and then, you know, the same things will reoccur. The
Mhm.
same things will happen again. And I'm not saying on that level, that magnitude, because nowadays, you know, wars are fought in the, you know, in the mind, and, you know, it's a much different time that we living in as opposed to, you know, circa 1920s. But it's like that hatred
Mhm.
for the fellow man. And you can, we're talking about race because that's what it was. But taking it a step further, like I, like we have to acknowledge that these things have occurred and that people are still pissed off about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people are still angry about the fact that, you know, there were lynchings, there were, you know, KKK. I mean, shit, KKK is still an organized family to this day. Like that's still a thing. You know, like these things were bred into the system. You know what I'm saying? You have, you know, corrupt, you know, politicians, you have corrupt police officers, you got, and I'm not saying that everybody's like that. That'd be, you know, but to say that these things still exist, you know, so you have people who say, oh, well, you know, I can't, you know, it's not fair. I can't, you know, get a house, or I'm getting unfair, you know,
Yeah.
interest rates on loans. And I'm not saying that they're race related, but some would argue, you know what I'm saying? And some would have, you know, some type of proof. But to say that these things just should be forgotten, or the things that should just be, oh, you know, you can't think about that, was back in the 20s, you know, that
But
was,
but
you
but
know, that, you know.
brother. Let me just ask you a question,
Okay.
because what I feel, this is my opinion.
Okay.
I do compare it with when you come to Africa. Africa is has different tribes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a word that is very sensitive. If you call somebody you are a tribal, that is a very sensitive word. And it's the same as for so many. I've listened and I've tried to follow up when it comes to race.
Yeah. Yeah.
When in US, if you're called you're a racist, that's a big word, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the same as back in Africa when somebody calls you you're a tribal and racist. So, but the fact is, one of the things that the society has to admit, or they have to admit, that there's an element of race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it depends on how you might be seeing another race. If you're seeing another race with a very good thinking, then I don't think you're racist. But if you have kind of like already opinion on the race that you're talking to, then that one you might be a racist, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Like some
That's what I think, because for first I would agree that okay, you are of a black race,
yeah.
the way it is, right?
Yep.
And of a black race, oh, you know, when I say okay, I agree, you are a black race with a very clear mind, like this is not a racist, it's not a. But if I'm calling you a black race with a connotation or with a thinking like, oh, you are a threat to me, or you don't deserve to be here, then that, you know. And I think if you're a racist yourself, you have to know. But also the racist, also the way I think, it is not only because like you find, if it is from a white person telling a black, you're talking about his color of his skin,
Hmm.
that is seen as racial. But what about a black person talking to a black, telling them how black they are? How is that one a race, or the race is always when it comes from the white to black, or black to white?
That's a good question, because I've often heard that black people can't be racist, but they can be prejudiced, because racism has to come from a position of power.
Oh, okay.
That's I mean, I listen, I've had college professors break this crap down to me, bro. Like it gets lengthy. But you know, to answer your question,
Uh,
I mean, if it looks racist, it sounds racist, it's racist, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I know that kind of seems, you know, short and sweet and whatever, but you spend so much time trying to place things and place terminology on things
Uh,
and find out what works and what doesn't.
uh,
You know, the fact of the matter is, like you had mentioned, you said, you know, a black person, you know, telling me or you know, confirming, you know, my blackness, or confirming, you know,
yeah.
my question is, like, where the hell do you get off? You know what I'm saying? Like, who determines what is what level? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, the same statement is the same statement. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
same statement, but different races. The
yeah.
same statement you're being told by the white, and the same statement you're being told by the black.
See, yeah, and I think that right there, it's because, and I tread softly when I say this, but it's, you know, we live in America. America is a very it's a place, and I'll say that to say, basically, we're kind of conditioned to. I mean, me as a black man who lives in America is conditioned to care a lot about race because of history, because of it's the current state. That's just the way it's always been. You know, it's just, you know, we talked about slavery. It ignites like this emotional switch, you know, in you, like, oh, you know, it's black versus white. It's you know, there'll never be equality. You know, white people make, you know, X amount of money. It's always this gap separating black and white, no matter if it's, you know, political, no matter if it's financial, no matter if it's, you know, educational. It's a lot of variables that make up, you know, the mind and I don't say personality, but the image of the black man in America. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of variables that go into that. So it's like, I know I don't want to get too far off the topic, but I'll make an example, like what you said with the race. So saying like this, like a white person saying, okay, something about a black person's race or whatever, and a black person saying the exact same thing to that black person that the, you know, that the other gentleman said. It carries a different amount of weight
Yeah,
depending on who's saying it. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
And it's messed up to say it like that, but it's based on a lot of history. It's based on a lot of the way we think, you know. And
yeah.
I say we, you know, I'm speaking about, you know,
The black.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I think like there's also something that I know you talked about insurance, but this is something that's also before I know you will do your summary later.
Yeah, yeah.
You will agree with me if you walk around, because I usually walk around and do my analysis, and
Mhm.
we have a Jewish community right now. If you walk around Poughkeepsie, the major apartments that are around in Poughkeepsie are, maybe majority of them are owned by the Jewish community. Majority of them, if I might be wrong,
Okay.
because you see royal, it's royal everywhere. But which is
Yeah,
not bad.
yeah,
Uh, Is there something that we can learn from them? Because I think what they do, they kind of like lift each other up.
yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like a brotherhood thing. Like
Yeah,
you're a Jewish, so let's come together and combine, and we collect this wealth together.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Why is that one not happening in our African Americans community? Why is it that I cannot support you? I rather bring you down, but we cannot come together to build that ourselves black, um, maybe black empire. You know.
yeah. No, I hear you. It's funny that you asked this question. I swear it was like it was meant for us to have this conversation about this particular, exactly what you just said. So I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier. I was at the local shop getting a haircut, and I was speaking to the barber. And when I tell you, we had this very conversation about, you know, why is it so strange? And maybe I'm just, you know, maybe it's me, but it's strange to see, right, that African Americans are like they're always in competition with each other as opposed to being supportive of one another. Like a black owned business, you go and you support that man. Or if it's like, okay, you see, you know, they're trying to, you know, start something up, you know, investing in that person, you know, seeing the value in each other as opposed to seeing each other as, you know, an opposition, or seeing each other as competition. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take that, and I'll say that with, you said, with the Jewish community,
Mhm.
very, very close knit, very, very supportive of one another. That's it's in, you can see it. You can see it from a mile away. Another community, Mexicans. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
I bro, I've lived in, this the city of Poughkeepsie, my life. And I've seen, the changes over the years with, different populations of people,
Mhm.
occupying different areas. It was, I mean, when I was coming up, it was predominantly African Americans all up and down Main Street. Like almost the entire city of Poughkeepsie was African American
Yeah.
until, certain a point, and you've seen this influx of Mexican, American individuals, coming over, jobs, working. I mean, I feel like I think a Mexican man and his family, I think they purchased, and I can always look that up. That's public information, but uh, purchased and renovated the McDonald's on Main Street, like when that was under new ownership. That bought the franchise. So like it, I've never seen a closer like if there, like anything that I'm talking about, from living to you moving furniture, you need something built. Okay, there's like that one. There's a Mexican guy who knows another Mexican guy who's a mason. Got one guy who's a carpenter. You know what I'm saying? Like the skills, the trades. You know what I'm saying? And they help each other. They'll build the whole the neighborhood of the Mexican men build a house. For a you know what I'm saying? Like that feeling of being a part of a community that
Yeah.
thinks about the greater good
Mhm.
and the prosperity of
About the
its members. You understand what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not something that you see inherently in the African American community. It's sickening, bro. But you know what's funny?
Mhm.
I say this just to, there's a little bit of comedic relief. But do you remember that cruise? Not a cruise line. It was like the boat. I was in Alabama or whatever case with where they asked those individuals to move so that boat can dock, and
Mhm.
then all those people started fighting.
Mhm.
But remember that
I,
guy? You
I
remember?
I I saw it.
Okay, so I forgot what city. It was Alabama or whatever it was, but that was the first time, and there was some unfortunate circumstances, but it was the first time that I saw okay, it was a situation. There's a black man. Didn't matter the race, but the
Mhm.
fact that that man was having an issue
Yeah.
with four other people of a different race. Could have
Yeah.
been anybody.
Yeah.
And all of those African American people said, you know what? That's wrong. I need to do so. We need to do so. And I mean, it was chaos, but it was the first piece of togetherness that I've seen in years, man. Like
So
years.
if that mentality of togetherness can be translated on how we can build the wealth amongst ourselves, then it could be good. And also, I was even like thinking of like building our things like our own banks, that when you go there, you will get accessibility, because like they will understand who you are and they will understand where you're coming from. So you might not get so many challenges along the way as you try to process your loan or process your mortgage. So I think that one. And something also that I see, I don't know whether it is true
Mhm.
about us, about the African American community. I don't know whether it is true that we spend too much when we go on vacation, and the luxuries, and
Yeah,
I don't know whether it is true. That's, like this thing, when you try to look, to do research on them, and you kind of find them, okay, it's not bad to do that, but you find like they say that maybe that is a mispriority, that
yeah,
we have to look. And there was a small story that I was reading, whereby when a child when our children are growing up, they grow up in putting on designers clothes, which are very
yeah,
expensive. Yeah.
yeah,
So when this kid grows up, he grows up in the designer. So he grows up, and these designers are not cheap. They don't come by. They cost a lot of money or
true,
dollars. So
true.
by the time you reach an age whereby now you want to work for yourself, you find that you cannot afford, the kid is not going to afford, because he wants to maintain the status that he has, like a designer status.
Yeah,
So, and maybe he doesn't have job, so he will work, but the majority or the larger percentage of the earnings will go on the the valuables that we call maybe the shoes, the cars, the
Yeah, the
watch,
material things. Yeah, for
but
sure.
it doesn't go on saving. I don't know whether you agree with that or you know.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't agree. I can't get behind that, man. See, the thing is, yeah, and I can't knock anybody who was raised, how anybody was raised. You know what I'm saying? I can't knock that. And if you like, for example, if a child is spoiled by their parents and they're bought expensive things and that's what they know,
Mm.
then I think it's the responsibility of that parent to say,
Oh,
okay, hey,
mhm.
mom and dad had the coin to make sure you know what I'm saying, but I'm gonna put certain things, or they're gonna put certain things in
Mhm.
place to make it so that you can afford to live a lifestyle. So, I mean, so we talk about generational, what we're not talking about so you can buy nice things, and I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's up to you. But I mean, it's a mindset. It's how
Yeah.
you think that's going to make your money last. It's like an individual, common person, regular, everyday working man wins the Mega Millions, wins the Powerball. If he does not possess the right mindset on
Uh-huh.
how to manage that money, that fortune will be blown
Um,
before he even can get to the bank and do anything. You understand what I'm saying?
I
Like,
know.
it's your mindset. So like, if a child is said, okay, boom, they are raised and their parents flourishing with just all this designer this, designer that, because I've seen it. I've seen it. I know that those things happen and parents got money, and that's fine. Kudos to them. Not everybody has that and shares that, but if you do, by all means, but you owe it to you. I mean, I feel like I'm not telling anybody how to parent. I'm just saying I my opinion in is basically, if you are going to put your child in that life of luxury, at least arm them with the know-how to make that money so that they can continue their frivolous lifestyle, or at least have better, what I'm saying, so that they know what to do with the money and put themselves in a position so they can have said things. Because like you said, if you don't have that mindset, you don't have that know-how to say, okay, I know how to make money, I know how to keep money, save money, invest money, and have the things in life that I want, you're gonna do that. Have that check to check, or 90% of your income's going to Gucci shoes and a Louis Vuitton belt. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. But no, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with going in and doing that if you don't know how money works. If you don't know, if you're not set up
Mhm.
to have that kind of lifestyle, dressing for it is not helping you. You know what I mean? Acquire the lifestyle that you want to live. You can dress like you have it, but you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's up here. But I hope that
Okay,
answers.
brother. Maybe before we wind up, maybe a summary.
All right. So, in summation, right?
Mhm.
Home ownership,
Mhm.
equity,
Mhm.
right? Houses, most homes, mortgages are what, 30 years,
Mhm.
30-year mortgage, right?
Mhm.
Most people stay in their homes for a couple of years. But if it's a house you like, if it's a house that it's a family house, a lot of families, and living in the States have family homes. You know what I'm saying? It's a big house, multiple family members live there, probably mom and pop. They get older, they pass it down. That's how that works. Kids don't want it, they sell it or whatever, rent it, Airbnb. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Home ownership, equity. There's so much that can be done when you own your own home. And I know it's a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort, but I promise you, like, this power
Mhm.
in home ownership. Um, talking about money, talking about how money works, talking about how money can work for you.
Mhm.
Have more conversations with that. Be around people. If it's not your parents, if it's not your caregivers, if it's not your family, be around people with whom can explain to you, can make that make sense, because money works. It will work for you. I promise you. It will work for you in ways you never thought, but you just have to arm yourself with that knowledge. Retirement,
Mhm.
wills, trusts, estate plannings. So,
Mhm.
like, really knowing that we're not here for a while. We're
Yeah.
not. So while we're here, we're making good decisions, good financial decisions, and we're hopefully at the end of our journey leaving something for our kin, leaving something to commemorate all of our hard work,
Mhm.
and as a blessing to the next generation. Like, look, I did the best I can, but hopefully with this, you can make, you know, some beautiful things happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Life insurance, then I said financial plan. Financial plan literally meaning just go talk to somebody
True.
about how money works. Go talk to somebody about debt and
Mhm.
what you like. Say for example, you want to fix your credit, you want to, whatever you want to do. It's
Mhm.
hard if you don't know what you're doing. You can get lost, you can get overwhelmed. Talk to somebody. Figure out, okay, what is the best course of action? Make a plan. Stick to that plan. It's all education, bro. It all starts up here. It's a mindset. Once you have
Mindset.
that, that's what is taught to kids. That's how the next generation, not just by saying, okay, boom, I'm gonna have all this money set to the side, and when I'm gone, it's yours. That's not how that. I mean, in essence, that is what it is. But they're arming them with the know-how to say, okay, when you do get this, these
Yeah.
are the things that, okay, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, all the way to whatever, and we'll establish a plan. It's knowledge, and then they will take that. See, I'm telling you, the people that own homes and the people that it their kids own homes, their kids own homes.
Mhm.
It's just what happens. It's knowledge. It's almost like, okay, you go to high school, you go to college, you get this job, you do that, and then you're going, you know what I mean? You have the tools and the resources necessary to then go and get a home, start looking for houses, start, your credit's exactly where it should be because dad, you did exactly what mom said. Dad, set you up a little account, little savings account, or maybe put you in the family business so you had work experience by the time you were, what I mean? It's just these know-how. If you don't have that, you're starting off behind enemy lines almost, you know what I mean? So that's, in summary, just a couple of things that, a couple of ways at which generational wealth can be passed down, but it's really 100% a mindset. It's information that needs to be understood so that it can be passed on. It's all it is. It's more than wealth. Wealth, it's information. It's knowledge. It's not money, bro. It's not money. It's information and knowledge. That is more. That is. You couldn't put a price on it. You couldn't put a price
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Okay, brother, thank you so much for taking your time to speak with us, and I hope our African brothers back at home will listen to it and maybe share. That will be the experience to them to know what is happening in America, some of the things that we've mentioned.
Oh, for sure.
And those who might be watching us for the very first time, we are kindly requesting you to be part of the family by just giving us the subscription. And that's how we grow, and we will bring more of these stories with our brothers when we need to talk about America, especially. I know politics is coming. Politics is not your thing, but I'm looking for a.
No, but listen, we be having some good conversations, bro. And a lot of times I just be like, you know what, my brother Vincent, he definitely let me know because I was definitely ignorant to the fact that, but you always bring me in. I always look forward to talking to you about political stuff,
Oh,
man.
yeah, thank you very much because I will come about the politics. I have so many things that I've been studying about American politics and the way the dynamics of it, and
Yeah.
I think we shall have a conversation in it. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope to talk to you another time.
Oh,
For
absolutely,
our
man.
viewers, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us. Those who are going to watch, also we will also thanking you and continue watching and spreading this message to every group so that people could watch and know what we are speaking about. Thank you so much. We will be meeting here next Thursday, the same place, same time. Thank you so much.